we're going to get right at it right now. We definitely not going to do this too long. The Holy Bible is made of 66 books. We're dealing with the Bible. I'm talking God. That will try to knock that and say the Bible was written by man. Is that the evidence for saying there was no God? But many times it is. I need you to understand the men who wrote the Bible were ordained by God, beginning with Moses and what is known as the first five. That indeed what a book about God creating man. It still tells us all scripture is given by inspiration of God. And just one verse God is saying, the Bible is for me, not man. Although they are the white tie. If I look at God, I'm looking towards creation. As I say many times, notice in creation, God has to be his creator. Breaking down creation in chapter 1, I would like to give different sections, there are counter arguments around it. The first section, dealing with the first verse, is broken down from number 1 to you arrive in verse number 13, while down to the 19th verse, dealt with your lives. Verse 20 to 25, or a group of certain animals. If you want to tune in on 1 through 13, this argument is in the beginning. God created the heaven and the earth. This section of God's creation is being tackled today by the Big Bang Theory, a theory released in the 1920s dealing with how the universe began, with God already in 1445 through 1405 BC dealt with the beginning. If you want to look at the creation of man talked about in the 26 through 27 verse in chapter 1, all men were created equal. As God made them not to be superior to one another, as he dealt with them all at the same time. Alongside this part of the creation of God, this is the most believed theory of human creation. Humans share a common ancestor with apes. In other words, humans come from apes. Fossil records show it wasn't modern apes, it was this gray ape. This is Charles Darwin, natural selection, the theory of evolution. How many know in the early 19th century, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, 1744 through 1829, proposed his theory of the transmutation of species, the first fully formed theory of evolution. In 1858, Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace published a new evolutionary theory explained in detail in Darwin's On the Origin of Species, 1859. This is AD. This is the history and the background of our origins. Today we are going to be dealing with the many issues that fall under creation versus what else. The proposition is trying to bring in the fact that a creator is very much valued in this argument. So we will be dealing with 3 issues in this topic: the issue of heaven, the issue of earth, and finish with the issue of man. What does the existence of heaven mean? Heaven alone makes God real, which is why creation stands alone, because every other argument does not agree with heaven. Sources need to support the existence. Now, without heaven, it makes God a lie, because God created the heaven. There is no other explanation for heaven besides God. Heaven proves there is something higher than us here on earth. As rain will be an example of that, when the water drips down from on high instead of shooting up. The good thing about heaven is that it would help us explain the many languages of men. Not going in depth with the biblical story, the problem is this is a missing argument, because no other theory has explained otherwise how language originated. Or it brings us down to the argument of creation and dealing with who, or in some cases what, is the creator. Of being created is not an issue, as the Big Bang Theory does agree with creation, as they would go and recommend that the atoms are the founding creator of the universe, which brings us into the argument of God versus Adam, is that would have to remove ape. However, the atom sides with ape because it removes God, referencing all of their sources. In whatever case you run with, a creator still stands. Dealing with the creator, we would have to bring in the missing argument of the number line. God is known as the only one that existed before creation, but they were still asked who created God. We're looking at the atoms today. There were two said to bring forth the universe, but this question is not asked. Using numbers to argue this topic, before two there had to be one, which is the missing piece in the argument. 2 verse 1, as one would let us know, there was still before it. Well, on today we want to focus on how man was created. Man being created is unarguable, but the argument is God versus ape. As God was said to create man, and the ape was said to change into man by a form of reproduction. The ape produced man, which we'll go to say the ape created man. Well, the counter argument to that is God created apes on the same day, actually before he made man. But man goes to argue against that. Man has become an issue with his theories. These theories are messing with theology. Well, when arguing creation, we can never knock the fact that there is a creator. The creator of heaven is God, as these theories don't want heaven, something higher than us, to exist, because they are removing God. So now man is lost in finding the creator of earth and himself. As we deal with the issues of this topic, let us never make it an issue that a creator is indeed a part of creation's argument. On today, we will be closing the remaining portions of this origin debate. I want you to notice how both sides are bold statements, but there are missing pieces to the subject. Is evolution and Big Bang Theory trying to tackle creation, or just work its way around it? In dealing with creation, there are some pieces that evolution and Big Bang Theory won't discuss, is other pieces have opposing arguments to it. First off, time is not an issue. Let us put a seal to this thing that the beginning is formally stated as the beginning. Past arguments or speeches have let us know what the opposer states. On today, I will be focusing on trying to persuade you to the truth. In my opinion, is the best solution. How many know in evolution, what can you explain? But in creation, what do you know? Simply how in evolution a theory being to change. Let me question it. Did the light and darkness divide? What I'm trying to say, they have a reason for man. They even have a reason for the coming together of the place. And let me just say, in evolution, there is no heaven or hell. This is just earth and life. I wonder what type of people are you to believe in an afterlife. And I'm not talking about a heaven or hell type of life. Simply about the one talking about when you die and come back. What type of animal did you want to be? There was some who said, I want to be a dog. Others who said, I wanted to be a lion. And there were those folk. And some wondered if that would happen. What I'm trying to say is, why would these people be listed under creation? Only because they believed that God could do it. How many know God is not under any topic, especially when God is the topic? Oh God, I wonder how I got off topic. There were those who believed in karma, that what you do comes back to you. And they believed in many things, but perhaps they did not believe in our God. Yeah, but let me holler at you for a minute. Regardless in what you believe on, there has to be some type of creator. That is not the problem. When I look at evolution, I see the creator would have to be those two atoms. And I'm glad somebody believe in an atom. Ah, boy. But when I look at God, I see in creation, he has to be his creator. In other words, he is the maker. And with God, all things are possible. So that would just be a skill, which is a small thing of possible. Let me just say to those in the rapture, God loved you so much, you can never say God never gave a chance. How many know when you see God, you are at perfect peace with God? And there were some who seen the Son and believed so easy in God because they were seeing God. God loved you so much, he sent his only Son to die. God loved him so much, he made sure to raise him. With evolution being true, what is the Jesus case? What I'm saying is evolution tackles so many things, but it really opens a door for so many questions. The one like, how many know what I'm talking about? The one like when the two atoms came together, how quick did it create something? What type of math did you have to use for that? With evolution being around, how did a month or a day, maybe even a week come around? I wonder what time being here, did I start before, during, or after creation? What I'm trying to say is with the Creator, there simply has to be some type of creation. In Genesis 1:1, the Bible states that in the beginning God created the heaven and earth. But what the Bible did not do is fill in the rest of just our solar system and in what time. If I question evolution, that question would be, what did your two atoms how create? Or how did we know there were two atoms? What did that number come from? Was that the atoms or the numbers first? Why is there so many questions in just your beginning of your portion? Simply because God is not the author of confusion. And I happen to know the devil still works for God. It is man who disrespect him. The missing pieces make this argument what it is, while the argument is missing pieces of what it is attacking. However, we cannot knock the fact that this did happen in the beginning.